Hi, my name is April Foster, and this is All Things Made New, Lesson 6. All right, so we'll start class like normal with a word of prayer, then we'll go into Bible facts and memory work. And remember, you should be on the second memory verse by now, and then from there into our story, and then finish up with any activity and maybe a Bible fact game if there's time. All right, so this lesson is about Isaac, the son of promise, and so we'll remind the kids that we started or we ended last week with the 3 promises to Abraham, and this is about the nation promise. And at this point, Abraham and Sarah have a son, so you have your character pieces, and then you also have Hagar. Whoops, we shouldn't show Isaac just yet. So time passed and they didn't have a son, and then we talk about what happened with Hagar and Ishmael. And then on to Isaac in Genesis 17, and these scripture references are in the narrative. From there, you have a few more illustrations and visuals to share with the kids, and so you'll walk through the story cards. These do not have words at the bottom because you can kind of see it's just a progression of the same story. And one of the activities is to reorder the cards, so you can talk about just walk through the narrative, and you talk about Abraham leaving early, where he went. Also included in this is a map, so if you want to locate it on this little map or on your big classroom map, you may try to estimate the journey that he took from Beersheba up to Mount Moriah. It was not a short distance, and he left early, remember, to obey God. And then for the activities, there's several this week. So number 1, for the older kids, there's an activity of verses. And so the way this is done is you will place these rams in the center of the table. And you should have 1 fewer rams than you have kids. So if you have 5 kids in class, you'll have 4 rams. And then you'll give them each a verse card, and there's 5 different verses with a verse printed at the top. Then from there, you'll give them each the corresponding color. So if it is the yellow card, you'll give them the yellow verses, and they're going to arrange them in order. And when they think they have the verse in order, they're going to grab a ram from the table. If you've ever played the game Spoons, that's this game. So the goal is to get your verse done. You'll check it. You'll check the verse, and if they've done it, you can give them another card, and you can do a second round or a third round, and you can even do it 5 times. There's 5 different verses, all talking about this same story in various parts throughout the Bible. Okay, that's for the older kids who are readers. For the younger kids, and also if you want to use this for the older kids as well, there is another game that is similar where you read a passage of scripture, and that'll be included. And then there's game pieces for them to, as they hear those words, they grab them, and on the back side there are points. And so after you finish reading the passage, they can flip them over and tally their points. You can play that either as a group or individually, depending on how you want to. But the goal is to get them to actively listen to the words. All right, you also have a worksheet to do, and then finally, and what I always like to do on Wednesday night is have them reorder the story cards and tell me the story. That's easy for levels 3 and 4, might be a little challenge for level 1, and quite possibly good for level 2. All right, so that is All Things Made New, Lesson 6.